Okay, this year in February, on a Tuesday evening, a federal court ordered Apple to help the FBI unlock an iPhone that was used by one of the attackers that killed 14 people in the San Bernardino attack in California in December 2015, stated New York Times Isaac. The following morning, Apple had a letter for the court. While technology companies recently have resisted government demands, Apple's letter is one of the industry's most forceful pushbacks against a court ruling, stated New York Times Isaac. The DOJ, or Department of Justice, stated that they wanted to look at one phone in particular. Apple then stated that it was a violation of customer privacy and that they wouldn't do that. Apple CEO stated that the government is asking Apple to violate and hack its own users and undermine decades of security advancements and protection against customers. The same engineers who built strong encryption into the iPhone to protect its users would ironically be ordered to weaken those protections and make the users less safe, stated CEO Tim Cook. This now has smartphone users concerned that their battle with terrorism will never end because they are not quite sure if they want to give up their privacy and security to have them vulnerable to them. From the people's perspective on the FBI's are taking a security argument. Law enforcement must get into Farrak's phone as a critical part of its investigation into the San Bernardino terrorist massacre, stated CNN O'Neill. Looking at the FBI side of the matter of the argument, you look like you only have one choice: to help. You think this because if you are not helping, you are not doing your part and to help stop terrorists. On the other hand, writing a new code would have an effect beyond locking one phone. If Apple is required to help the FBI in this case, courts would require it to use this software in the future investigations or in order to create a new software to fit its needs, stated New York Times. Because Apple did not want to give up their privacy of their customers, a federal judge in California ordered tech giant Apple to help federal agents hack into a locked iPhone of a now deceased proprietor of December's terrorist attack in San Bernardino, California, stated Portland Press Anderson. After a court ruling came into place that basically stated that Apple had to give a less secure version of smartphones, making the system easier to hack and threaten privacy and security if it was in the wrong hands, the Justice Department has argued that it only wants Apple to help get around specific security features, enabling the FBI agents to crack the passcode, one in particular phone that may contain information that would be terrorist, Portland Press Anderson stated. Apple has stated that they don't agree with this and they are trying to fight for their customers' privacy. A better solution for all of this is to work with the FBI and give them what they want so that way no citizen's phone security is at stake of being hacked by creating a backdoor, essentially. The government is asking Apple to hack its own users and undermine decades of security and advancement protocols, including tens of millions of American citizens from sophisticated hackers and cybercriminals, said CNN, Perez, and Hume. No one should have to worry about being hacked by cybercriminals every time they use their phone. It was also stated that a personal locations and your camera and microphone might be turned on without you knowing when that backdoor is installed. Now comes the question, well, what about stopping terrorists by having access to their phones? In this case, Apple should absolutely work with the government and the FBI to help all forms of terrorism. The FBI wants Apple to help disable a function that erases the phone's data after multiple attempts to enter the password. The FBI could use other software to enter passwords until it has guessed the correct one, stated Daily Times. The only problem with this is that Apple does not hold the key to the shooter's iPhone, said CNN Goldman. Now, the only way to break an iPhone's encryption lock is with a passcode, which isn't stored on an Apple server. The FBI could try to guess the shooter's passcode, but if it guessed wrong about 10 times, the iPhones would permanently erase all the content stored inside. So the judge said that it had to provide reasonable technical assistance to help unlock the phone, including developing a software tool that would let investigators guess a passcode as many times as they needed until they got the correct one, stated CNN Goldman. This is something that Apple should be able to do without the risk of breaking anyone's security on their smartphones. Our overall goal is to protect us against cyber criminals and hackers without depriving the government or the FBI of evidence that they need that could help save lives. Apple should work with the FBI to come to a common ground on what could work for them both. Apple shouldn't have to create something that could be dangerous for its customers, and the FBI shouldn't have to create an option where they can still have access to their phones that they want to look further into. Thank you.